Welcome, 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 humans and gentle humans, to San Francisco's second ever Cliterary Salon. All right, I'm going to bring on the next reader. Who wants that to happen? Our next reader is Lauren Parker. Lauren's boots were made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, those boots are going to walk all over you. I'm sorry, I'm being informed that that is a fetish. Everyone pretends it's a down-home PG-rated pop rock / country rock song, but it is a literal fetish. And Lauren, I am told, will only do that shit for love of money. Or love. No, just money. So without any further ado, and before I put my foot in my mouth again, words fortuitous, I give you Lauren Parker!
Thank you for that introduction, for the introduction to my boots. This is called Alert. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this every time.
No, turn the mic to your face.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rotate it.
rotate.
More mic. Yeah.
This is a lot of instruction. First more twisting than I anticipated. Okay. How's this, Meg?
Better.
Okay. This is called Alert. Tickets are on me, Allie said, since I dragged you out of the house on a Saturday night. Rosie was relieved. They didn't have $12 for a movie ticket. They had $40 that had to last the week before they got a check from a freelance copywriting gig. They hoped. The check had been late every month. And maybe this one time they wouldn't have to hound their editor who was also their ex-boyfriend, who was still sending them passive-aggressive emails about nagging for their paychecks. I was just trying to help you out by recommending this gig to you, he had said in the last one. I'm doing everything by myself. It's so hard. Allie slipped her card into the ticket machine. So we're expecting this movie to be absolute shit. But the listeners will love it, so we have to pretend to have an open mind. We can go to my place and record after this. Allie had a podcast about women's media. She'd just done a 12-episode series on Jane Austen and the modern zeitgeist and the prevalence of the cool girl protagonist. Now she'd asked Rosie to review a biopic about Emmeline Pankhurst. The indie reviewers had commented that Ida B. Wells wasn't in it, nor any non-white actors, and the movie depended heavily on composite characters. It was the historical version of a CGI crap fest, full of attractive white women attractively fighting patriarchy for other women who looked just like them. Rosie had been dreading this thing for almost a year. Frances McDormand was in it though, so they had to see it. Rosie's phone began to ding with notifications as they walked with Allie to get popcorn and 2 beers. The little bird logo of Twitter continuously pinged across their screen. A series of Twitter handles they didn't recognize were responding to and retweeting their new article that had just gone up for Wench magazine. This piece was definitely more punchy than previous stuff they'd written, and Wench was a tougher audience. And so the headline, "Masculinity Can Eat Shit and Die," had to be eye-catching, if a little flip. Rosie was a bit excited. They were hoping this piece could be the sort of thing that could get them a regular writing feature instead of a contributor. Then the checks might be a little bit more predictable. They turned off their phone and spent 2 hours watching the boring film with an all-star cast of middle-aged female Academy Award winners who would, no doubt, get nominated for this thing. They turned their phone on to jot some notes on the initial reactions to votes for women when their Twitter notifications loaded. What the hell is going on? The man handing out religious pamphlets in the corner said, "I know, right?" Rosie didn't appreciate his tone. "What's up?" Allie said, peering over Rosie's shoulder at their phone. They clicked on the Twitter app, and like a spore cloud, the hate tweets emerged. Cunt. Fuck this bitch. What a fucking Tumblr snowflake. This is the logical failure of feminists. They lack the natural capacity for, it went on for ages. An endless scroll of bitterness. Allie tore the phone out of Rosie's hand and flipped through their mentions. Her face crumpled in disgust. "I think you're going viral. That's good, right?" Rosie flipped their phone to silent, but it still vibrated with every notification. It was strange to realize an entire world was unfolding inside their jacket pocket, which was now humming like it was filled with wasps. It didn't stop on the walk to Allie's apartment, and it didn't let up when Allie finally figured out her mixer so they could get the review of the movie over with. They crowded around the microphone at Allie's kitchen table, and the phone rattled against the table so loudly that Rosie had to turn it off. They put it in their coat pocket on the futon and tried to not stare at it. My sincere apologies, Allie began, for the sound quality. We're working on it for next time. This is another episode of Take Back the Mic, a pop culture podcast about lady-type shit. I'm Allie Taylor, and I'm here with special guest Rosie Freeman, the creator of intersectional socialist feminist blog Bread and Rosie, and a contributor to Wench Magazine, who is currently blowing up on social media. Ah, my comrades. Thanks for having me, Rosie said, and looked at the phone, nestled in cloth and cushions like a family secret. When they turned it back on, the battery was fading from constantly lighting up and wiggling with fresh notifications. They tried to listen to the music on the walk home, but the stream just kept getting interrupted by notifications from interfaces Rosie didn't even remember having. Rosie considered putting their phone on airplane mode. They were still waiting to hear back on the status of that mysteriously lost check. Plus, Rosie was sort of fascinated. The tiny lights of alerts kept the dark night a little brighter. Every so often, Rosie would check their screen to find that a new avenue of hate had been carved through a different internet portal. The notifications were packed with little email envelopes, WordPress logos, which meant the shits had found her blog, and actual texts from their friends, which volleyed between rousing, brash support and offerings of a safe house. When Rosie got home, Rosie opened their laptop and the magnitude hit. Not only was their Twitter exploding with various arrangements of cunt, bitch, and twat, but their page had been flagged and removed, and their website comment section was a parade of death and rape threats. The world had found the entirely too earnest YouTube covers of show tunes and Tori Amos songs. Of course they did. The butch girl they were meant for in college didn't find them, but maybe the internet scourged the shit out. The tweets were vile, but every comment was paragraphs upon paragraphs that were posted on their site and then emailed to them twice the mileage for half the hostility. Then Rosie woke the next day and TERFs had found them, piling on with quotes from Andrea Dworkin and Jermaine Greer about biological sex. Rosie hadn't expected this particular family of internet fauna to come trotting into their mentions, but they weren't surprised. Old comments on message boards, old posts on their long-since-defunct depression blog from college were cited, critiqued, and thrown back at them, and heavy-handed misgendering. Everything from their pronoun to their sex life to their body had been discussed, dismissed, and tossed into the public eye. Photos of them had been grabbed and turned into various memes, and posts Rosie had made from their grandmother's funeral were splattered with, "I'm glad she's dead, she's in hell, and ashamed of you." Rosie had deadlines and couldn't stop thinking about what these comments contained. It didn't hurt, per se. It was an unsteadiness, like every limb was prickling. Rosie couldn't focus at all. They had to get another draft done, and their editor at Wench had texted Rosie with glee that the clicks the piece were getting were spiking, but no one seemed to know how to turn it into revenue. The phone rocked against every surface with such force that Rosie expected it to lift off the table and swarm them. They wondered if the police would break down the door. That had happened to Margot. Annie had gotten death threats about her son, and Jennifer had been approached in public at a coffee shop and screamed at. The internet was only fake for some people, after all. Just ignore it, Rosie's roommate Morgan said. This is being on the internet. You just have to ignore the trolls. Rosie was having a hard time ignoring people whose entire goal was going to make them kill themselves. That was the goal, wasn't it? Twitter was by far the worst. Every like, every reply, every shit-stirring sock puppet was enjoying arranging the words cunt, fat, bitch, fag, dyke, inferior, and snowflake in tediously unoriginal orders, and was taking up space in all corners of Rosie's life and mind. They didn't know how to explain it to people. The panic, the clenching in the chest, the inability to tell the real from fake. Rosie was calloused to the usual Ayn Rand fan who emailed them, or that random conspiracy theorist who kept sending them the manuscripts of the real Shakespeare. But there hadn't been a course in their college gender studies curriculum for when the World Wide Web hates you. Rosie lay in bed, counting the pauses between notifications like a child counting the distance of thunder, waiting for it to die down, waiting for it to get further away. They wished they didn't have to go through this by themselves. They thought about texting their ex, whose number was now emotionally unavailable in their phone. They volleyed between regretting becoming a public figure and doubling down in rage. Rosie got so pissed off their temperature started to rise. They clenched their fists and seethed. Fear and rage mingled with a flutter in their chest, and it turned into a sensation of someone trying to beat their way out from the inside. Rosie was so mad they were horny. The steady stream of Twitter eggs that possessed their phone made them feel something close to joy. Not joy itself, but something just outside of it. its dark mirror, its cool cousin brought in for a reoccurring role in a sitcom. Rosie was getting wet thinking about all those people spending their time filling their DMs with unoriginal insults. They were horny about all the comments their filter had caught they hadn't even seen. Smug bastards that had gotten buried, whose hate they would never grace their presence. Rosie picked up their iPhone, a hand-me-down from their more successful sister. An item they'd been afraid of for 2 days, and took delight in the glow of the screen. The vibrance of other people's discomfort lit up their room, and they disconnected the charger and slipped the phone under the covers and pressed it over their underwear. The stream of notifications were so prolific that the phone kept a sustained vibration. And Rosie let out a moan. They rocked against the phone, getting warmer and warmer, flushing across their chest and cheeks. They thought about their last girlfriend and then quickly thought of Charlize Theron every time. Because there were only so many heartbreaks one could jack off to. They pushed the phone down towards their taint and clenched it between their thighs while rubbing their clit with their middle finger. Every pulse and quake was thanks to some asshole whining at them, pestering them with the platitude that sex was something they had the right to take. And Rosie pushed their cunt up against the screen, laughing and thinking about all these people that were so close to penetrating them and couldn't do it. They pushed the phone up against the underside of their clit, hitting that sweet, tender spot that makes eyelids twitch and necks relax. Rosie felt themselves melt, like they were too close to the sun. The radiance of the attention, the hum of the phone, the constant stream of discord coursing through them. Rosie had never been happy that people hated them before. Rosie came so hard they soaked the bed and had to stick the iPhone in rice. The notifications had slowed, and the only stragglers were 4chan incels and the occasional Christian keyboard warrior who had missed the big showdown. Rosie's next piece on Bread and Rosie was entitled, "Socialism May Be Idealistic, but at least all your hate made me come."
That's a bad face.